Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Today we have a two-question day, so we'll have a part A and a part B, and they both involve basically putter grips, okay, and playing grips. So we're talking about grips today. It says, hello, this first one comes from Ulf Ekstrom, and he underlines it by saying, from your class in Hilton Head in April 2011. Okay, glad to have seen that you came there, Ulf. And Ulf says, hello, Serge. I changed my putter grip to a bigger size. Before I putted very well. Now the ball does not go in the hole. Is there something different with the thicker grip to consider? My putter's a Scotty Cameron Newport. Absolutely, there's a number of things to consider, and we will discuss those. But let me read the second question now that's relative to this. The second question comes in from Bruce Baker, and Bruce says, I saw the video of 430 talking about these grips. I have Enlow grips on all my clubs and really like the results. In talking with Brad Enlow, it is my understanding that instead of gripping primarily in the fingers, the proper way to grip is more like a baseball bat in the palms. I actually find better club head speed and accuracy doing it this way. This is the way I grip, but I've never heard you make any comments from you on the proper way to use these grips. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, now the reason why I'm bringing up Bruce's question about the Enlow grips is because I actually even have Enlow grips on the putter. But let's just start talking about grips. Okay? Now, I buy a fair amount of grips. I get some that have been given to me. For most of my life, professional life, I have been pretty much a big proponent of Golf Pride grips. In fact, this set right here has Golf Pride grips on them. I went to a new model this year. I just did it because I felt I wanted, I always play with cords, some type of cord in the grip. So this has a cord up on the top of it, and it has a type of composite on the bottom. I changed from the black red to the black white because I just felt that the red for me, as much as I pretty much when I teach, all I do is use mostly the 7 irons and a few other short irons. It was just getting too slick on me too fast, and I went to this grip, and I actually built them up a little bit more this time. All right. Now I also have this same grip on another set of clubs, and I've got some clubs with lambkins, and I've got some with a few other models on them, and so I try the gamut. Why? Because they're always coming out with new composites, new grips, or whatever, and those really work well. But the only way you know if they might work well for you is you got to go and test them. Now I put on my old grips here at the house. I just cut the old ones off and just come out here in the back of the garage over there and just tape them up and slip the grips on. I use mineral spirits when I put my grips on. All right, no big deal. I don't even have a vise. I just get up here, put the club up against the building, and when I put the mineral spirits in, I hold it over the thing, shake the grip down, the mineral spirits out the grip, and just put it down up against the building and just shove it right on, just like that. Then I'll check out that the leading edge over here, the words. I always leave the words up. I figure so everybody can read what I'm using, and then line it up the way I like to see it lined up to have the words at a place where they're basically sitting at 12 o'clock on top. I show the words. Many of the pros on tour, they put the words underneath. Okay, so that said, there's only one way you can really find out if a grip works. You got to go ahead and put them on your clubs. Now, if you get into testing a lot, like I do, well, remember, this is my business, and I still play a little bit of golf. I'm hoping to get back and start playing a little bit more this year. So I'm always looking at it. Plus, I'm looking to find good grips that I can stand here and recommend to y'all to play better, as in the case of the Enlow grip. Now, I have, the first question came in with talking about the fatter grips on the putter. Okay, now I have right here right now 4 of my top putters. Now this is only a mere fraction of my collection. All right, we got a double ball putter there. I got a Seymour putter here, a Never Compromise, and I got a Kenny Knox putter. Okay, I also have right here. Now all of these have the Enlow grips on them. All right, so I got at least 4 Enlow grips, and I got 3 or 4 more putters back there with Enlow grips. That's the one where it's fatter on the bottom It's an extra fat putter to begin with. It goes from, it's a reverse taper, so instead of being at the top of the club skinny, fat to skinny, it goes skinny to fat, okay? Then I have one of my other favorite putters that's in and out of the bag now and then, and this is a phenomenal putter. You've heard me talk about these putter now and then. It's a Edel golf putter. Dave Edel builds this putter. It's handcrafted, handmade by him, and he does a great job. He can configure them for you any way you want. This is actually a variable model in that I got 3 faces. I got a 2 degree, 3 degree, 4 degree. All I have to do is unscrew, loosen up 3 little bolts back here, and the face pops off, and I can put another face on. Right now I got a 2 degree variable loft on it. Now Dave put on a putter grip that I asked him to. This is a completely round, a little bit fatter than normal, but nowhere near the Enlow grips. It's completely round. I have found over the years that I actually personally play better with, I've always putted quite well with round grips. All right, so I got all of these out here. As you can see, these are the Enlow grips, and I really like the Enlow because I think if we want to have I still like to see a fairly firm grip. I don't want it so loose, but I can hold it firmer and still have a firm grip with what I would like to say maybe a lot softer and less tendency to get tight with it with these nice fatter grips. It just lays right in my hands. Now, one of the next questions came out about his swinging with an Enlow grip. Do you hold it in the palms? I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just want to keep finishing up on these putters. Now, I'm going to reach into my bag here. Remember, all these other ones were outside the bag. They go in and out. I mean, you could go to my club, Village Greens, where I play here in Inman, South Carolina, and you can talk to some of the people they'll tell you many times I show up on a putting green with 3, 4, 5, 6. I've been out there with as many as 10 putters, and I just stop fooling around them. I play the heads, and many times I'll have changed grips on a few of them, and I'm checking that out just to see how it feels and everything else. And again, like I say, I'm testing them for y'all so I can come up when I see good things. But right here, I'm taking 2 out of my bag. These are my two very big Old Faithfuls. All right. Now, this is my oldest Old Faithful. It's been with me since 1969, and it's a Christian company Bullseye. It's called wide flange, very wide flange. I got a lot of extra weight put on it, and as you can see, it's got a very, very fat grip. All right, this is a new grip that just came to me from my one of my students who knows who I'm friends with, and he's on a search for me. I'm not ready to say much about a whole lot of these because this one's only been on the putter for about 3 days, and I've only been able to get out once with it. And it's completely flat, and it's basically from the end to right about here the same amount of diameter. It's a little bit, it's not completely round, but it does have roundness feel to it, but it's not dead flat on the top either. There's a little soft curvature, and I'm liking this one because of it's almost the same size for both hands. It is the same size for both hands on the putter. So far I'm liking it. I've only used it once. Now this was just put on like 2 or 3 days ago. All right, and this is my A putter. And since I've had this putter in 1969 is when I won it as an amateur and chose it as a prize in a tournament with my shop credit. This is probably spends a maximum, or I should say a minimum, of all the years when I'm playing serious golf and in tournaments. This is in my bag probably 80% of the time, even to this day. And it's 1969 is when I got it. 69 to 70, somewhere in there. This is my second best putter. It is another Bullseye. This is actually a Scotty Cameron Bullseye, and it's quite rare. I understand they only made about 500 or so of these, and I managed to get one. And Scotty personally built this one for me, and actually endorsed and put my own name on it up here. It says the Surge on the toe, and he did this when DJ and I were out there one time at his studio in Southern California. Now this one has those big fat stroke savers you see on TV. Very good. Again, this is at the time was the fattest one. I understand now they got a bigger, even a fatter model, but this one is basically completely flat, and it has, to me, it feels like it has a little bit, maybe even a slightly bit reverse taper in that it's a little skinnier up here than down there, but not as significant as the Enlow. And this has been on this putter for a couple years now, and so again, this one gets in my bag a whole lot, as well as a couple other models, but most of the time, as I told you, my old Bullseye is there. So I'm always fooling with different grips. So to ask the first question, where Ulf stated he's not making putts. So what's the answer to that, Oath? Well, if the putts ain't going in, then I'm gonna say that, heck, I guess that's not the grip for you. Now, maybe you might want to give it a little bit more time if you're sensing something might be good. But if you feel like you've given it enough time and you're not making putts like you used to, I'd say time to get rid of it and put the old grip back on, or try another grip. But in the end, never forget what that old one was when you putted good. Now, you never know if something might be better unless you try it. And grips aren't that bad. They're too tough to do. You can, if you learn how to change them yourself, it's just a matter of buying the grips. And if you know, it doesn't cost that much to go to a club fitter and have them cut it off and put a new one on. But you never know unless you try. And when you find something, again, sometimes when something's working, you might say, why change? But me, I do it because, well, part of it is I'm always searching for something better. And if it happens, but I also know what good was, and if I'm losing it, if as much as I think I like this right now, if I go out there and I'm not making putts, it's gone. Come right back here, get the knife, cut it off, and it's gone. Okay? And then and I know what the good ones are that have been on there. And I got plenty of those in the garage. Of the basic one I use if I go back to it. So trial and error is going to tell you, all right? But sometimes it doesn't hurt to have this trial and error. And again, if you're comfortable with what you got and you think it's really good, don't mess with it. Now, the second question comes from Bruce Baker. And Bruce says, I saw the video of 430 talking about these grips, the Enlow grips. I have Enlow grips in all my clubs and really like the results. In talking to Brad Enlow, it is my understanding that instead of gripping primarily in the fingers, the proper way is to grip it more like a baseball bat in the palms. I actually find better club head speed and accuracy doing this. This is the way I grip, but I have never heard any comments from you on the proper way to use these grips. Thanks, Bruce. You know, I never thought about changing my grip when I went to the Enlows. Right now, I don't have any clubs in my bag with it. And just to give you a couple other ideas, here's another grip I have that is very, very wide, not that thick. And again, I think that if one wants to go to these cloth type grips now, I've been fooling with this one. This is on a Scotty Cameron putter, that the one that has the line and curved a little bit back here to give you the sense of that the stroke is an arcing stroke. And I think if you're really into some form of the claw. And I kind of think the claw is pretty good. I'm fooling with it. DJ's using it right now. Because think about it. If I hit a golf ball and I square up right here, and when I get to there, look at the position. I'm in the release position. Here, I'm already in the release position, which will allow the club to swing through, in the arc, back and through, squaring up at the line, still square up at the line, and go through with the club releasing. So I think it's got a built-in release. So I think there could be something to it. But I think when it comes to clawing, I really like these bigger and fatter putters because it really, when I get that whole club just sitting right in there, right in the middle of my palm, into my thumb and forefinger joint there, it really makes it much more stable than having it on a much skinnier. Say if I use my shaft here, this has got a lot of room in there to slip around. But when I got these fatter grips, and especially this one or this one, it really just lays right in there and everything's kind of locked right in because, and again, you got this little bit of flatness on both of them, especially this one. So this one's got a lot of merit. As far as I know right now, it's called two thumb, and I think you can only get this from Europe. All right? So again, that's on putter grips. So we're getting back to the club now. Even when I put the Enlows on my club, I still held it in my hands, in my fingers as much as I could. All right, and I felt that the fatter part was even better for me in my fingers because with a normal thinner blade, it gets very easy at times for this club to start slipping down into what I call the base joint, which is where the fingers attach to the palm. And if it gets in the base joint and then I swing, I squeeze, it has a tendency to shut the face a little bit. So as you've always heard me say, you crimp your fingers, you lay it in the crimp. Well, if I lay it in the crimp, it should be laying across the middle joint of the fingers, not in the base joint or the root joint where it's joined to the palm. And so when I get in that little bit thicker grip, it has, especially sort of like these Enlows, and I'm holding it in there. When I finally squeeze the club, it never changes. But I'm still trying. As you can see, I have this club. Say if 12 o'clock is up here on the top and 6 o'clock is down here, I have 6 o'clock still in here, but I got more thickness of the grip in my palm, so there's less chance that the club could still spin a little bit in my hands. So I like that. I think that helps. But as far as the palms part go, I never thought about the palms, but I'm going to say what? It's working for you, Bruce, so I'll say fine, except with one caveat. I have no problem with it as long as you're basically keeping the palms fairly close together. I don't care if you 5-finger it, overlap or interlock, but you got to keep it together. I don't want a lot of separation, and I don't want you to try to arch your hands up to do that. Just stay in a normal position. We don't want to get into that where your arms are arched up like one teaching theory teaches. All right, and you must, absolutely must, because of the concept of what returns to how the hands return to parallel, and they're diametrically opposed with a good grip. The palms must be palms perpendicular to the ground, facing or opposing each other. The absolute things you see about peak performance grip. Okay, you must maintain that. Now, again, I think maybe you might have a little bit better hand control and keep your left hand in a better position on top if you try to keep it maybe in the a little bit more fingers in the left hand than the right, but let it sit there, but still try to let it sit where the middle joint is at 6 o'clock. Okay, but even if you do a palms perpendicular, you still want them sitting there, more in the palms, but the palms must be perpendicular to the ground, both of them, so that the club can be returned square. All right, so again, this is some of the things. Give you basics. You have to sometimes open your mind and fool around with some stuff, but when I give you basics and you got parameters to go one way or the other with them, you always must stay to some of the main things. And when it comes to grips, palms must be perpendicular to the ground, and if I line up dead square to my target, that means if my palms are perpendicular and the club face matches my right palm, and when I put it down square to the target, it's perpendicular to my body, and my palms are perpendicular to the ground. That's a 3P perpendicular relationship. Target, body, and ground. You will return the club back to square at impact with the peak performance golf swing and hit it more solid, straight, and longer. And that's how you're going to play better golf and shoot those lower scores. So we're always up to some adjustments. Always up to maybe keeping an open mind and trying this or that. But never forget what was working. And if you try something new and it doesn't work, just abandon it and go back to what you were. But don't be scared to try now and then. I mean, look at Tiger Woods. And a lot of tour players are always experimenting, but in the end they always go back to their basics and their fundamentals. And that's the thing with us. The setup determines the motion. Setup, grip, stance, posture, and alignment. So don't hesitate to try things, but just make sure you stay with the peak performance golf fundamentals if you are doing the peak performance golf swing, so you can shoot those lower scores. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.